In a route where it rains all the time, you would think the place will be flooded and the water would rise up. But good thing that's not the case, otherwise this route would be a dangerous area for people. I mean, how is this place not flooded? I have no idea. Nintendo logic, I guess. I mean, that's the only thing that I can think of when it comes to answering my own questions regarding things that happen in certain Pokemon games. Nintendo logics. You know, just being in this route reminds me of the time I went on a field trip and the scenery kind of mirrored the current weather that's happening in this route. I don't remember what the place was called, but it did make me feel like I was in this very route. Although I don't think there was any water in the area. All I know is, it was raining, it was dreary, and some tells me the place would be a lot better looking if you were to go there on a sunny day. Well, the date of that trip just so happened to fall on a day where it was going to rain, so naturally, there's not much you could do about that. So, what was I doing there? Well, I don't quite recall everything I did on that trip. I think one thing I remember doing is digging around somewhere, not really sure what I was trying to dig up. Although I do recall seeing an earthworm for the first time, and upon seeing that thing, I just wanted to get away from it. I mean, not that I'm scared of earthworms or anything, it's just that I've never seen one before, and I just didn't know how to react. So other than that, that's everything I remember about that field trip. I mean, that happened over 10 years ago, so naturally, my memory of that place is kind of faulty at this point. Anyway, last video, I was talking a little bit about that cancelled Terrorate battle event involving Great Tusks and Iron Treads. I did speak a lot about Great Tusks last video, but I don't think I really spoke about Iron Treads all that much. Well, for one thing, I unintentionally said this moveset twice, not really sure why I did that. I think it's because I actually forgot that I already said this moveset, and that's only because I was kind of frustrated at the fact that that Cloyster from last video poisoned my Gastrodon, and I had to go back to the Pokemon Center just to heal it up. Oh yeah, that trainer I just fought before I got into this battle, I was supposed to fight that trainer last video, if not for that little incident. Well, things like that happen all the time, and naturally, there's not much you can do about it. So, what's done is done. So, I might as well talk about Iron Treads right now. Okay, I did go over its moveset last video, and I did say that thing is good at covering up its weaknesses, and yes, it most definitely is good at doing that. So that begs the question, how do you fight something like that? Well, I'm only asking myself this question since I've been down that road one too many times, where I was up against a Pokemon that was good at covering up its weaknesses, so I guess it's the only thing that I ask myself the same question. Well, for one thing, it could possibly have electric terrain as one of its moves. Towards the end of the last video, I said electric incorrectly, not really sure why. I guess I'm not used to saying that word. But yeah, it could possibly have electric terrain as one of its moves. And if it does go for that, then that's going to trigger its ability. And when that happens, well, I'm not really sure which stat will get increased by 30%. Well, for your sake, hopefully it's not an attack, otherwise I'm not really sure if you can even fight that thing or even catch it. So, how would I fare against something like Iron Treads that's good at covering up its weaknesses? Well, I'm not too sure actually. Actually, maybe I do know. A few videos ago, I was talking about another Terrorate battle event involving a 7-star Inteleon with Terra typing Ice and how it got one-shot by Gigaton Hammer coming from Ticketon that had +6 in attack. And that's only because 3 Berserkers used Swagger on Ticketon, but it didn't get confused thanks to Ticketon having own tempo, so yeah, Gigaton Hammer coming from Ticketon, yeah, that's going to hurt like hell, especially if you have +6 in attack. Not to mention the fact that Inteleon is pretty frail, so it's the only thing that it would go down in one hit. So I'm thinking, can a similar strategy like that work against something like Iron Treads? Well, I'm not too sure. If so, then there are 2 Pokemon that I'm thinking of that could possibly do the trick. Lilligant or Slowpoke, or maybe Slowbro or Slowking, depending on which one you're most comfortable with using. But in all honesty, I don't think you should really use those 2 since those 2 are pretty slow, hence the name. And odds are Iron Treads is going to make quick work of those 2 before you get the chance to use that strategy that I'm about to mention. Okay, so what I would do is, I would send out Lilligant and I would have some people next to me so that way I could have a shot at taking on Iron Treads, because let's be real, 9 times out of 10, the partners the game gives you, they suck. Yeah, I know from experience. So, I think I recommend that you have some actual people to help you capture Iron Treads. Okay, I would be sure that those people would have a Pokemon that would know the move Flatter, what it does is it raises the opposing Pokemon's special attack stat, but it'll confuse the target. But if you use that on Lilligant, then Lilligant will get a special attack boost, but won't get confused thanks to own tempo. Although, I'm not really sure if that's going to be enough. Well, taking a look at Iron Tread stats, it's pretty fast actually, 106 across the board. Okay, over here we have the TM for Bug Buzz. I'm pretty sure this was supposed to be Silverwind back in the original games. I never really used Silverwind all that much since, well, Bug is a pretty redundant type, so naturally I didn't see any point in me using Silverwind. I mean, I know it has a chance at raising all of your stats. Oops, oh, I forgot to take the Lucky Egg off of Torterra. My bad. Okay, as I was saying, I know Silverwind has a chance at raising all of your stats, minus accuracy and evasiveness, but the chance of that happening is only 10%. Not to mention the fact that it only has 5 power points, so yeah, that could possibly complicate things. But if I really like Silverwind, then I'll just increase its power points thanks to a few PP ups. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Silverwind all that much. Anyway, back to Iron Tread stats. I did say it's pretty fast, although its special defense is not as impressive as its physical defense. It has 70 in special defense and 120 in defense, so your best bet is going with special attacking moves. So what I would do is, I would try to put Iron Tread to sleep with Lilligant's Sleep Powder, and then I would use Quiver Dance so that way I can get a special attack boost as well as a speed boost, since that's crucial for me to have, since I did say Iron Treads is pretty fast. And depending on what Pokemon my partners have, I'll have them use Flatter on my Lilligant so that way I can get some special attack boost, but I won't get confused thanks to own tempo. And at the end of the day, I'll have +4 in special attack, and hopefully that's enough to one-shot Iron Treads. Although I'm not really sure if this could work. I mean, I don't have Violet myself, and even if I did, I would have to have actual people help me out so that way I could capture Iron Treads. I mean, this plan I came up with, it does sound good when you put pen to paper, but I'm not really sure if it would really work. I mean, I only came up with this plan since that little strategy involving somebody one-shotting that 7-star Inteleon, yeah, that gave me the idea of doing the same strategy. Although, it's not exactly the same strategy, but it's just something similar. So yeah, if I did have Violet, then I guess I would possibly try to maybe do that little strategy, but I don't have Violet. Well, if somebody's going to take on Iron Treads, then hopefully maybe they could do that little strategy that I just mentioned. Although I'm not really sure if it could happen, since that event has been cancelled. But who knows, maybe that event might come back, you never know. Okay, moving on to something else. I want to come back to the Great March for a second, since I want to address something that I said while I was there. So, I said some pretty incorrect information while I was there. I said that if you throw bait at a Pokemon, then they're hard to catch, but less likely to run away. But if you throw mud, then they're easy to catch, but more likely to run away. Unfortunately, much to my surprise, that's not true. So, apparently it's supposed to be the other way around, something I didn't know. And I was asking myself, was it always like that? And it turns out it was never that way before. So looking back at Kanto and Hoenn games, yeah, it was a lot different than how it was back in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. So if you throw some food items at Pokemon, then they're less likely to run away but hard to catch. But if you throw something like, say, a rock at a Pokemon, then they're more likely to run away and easier to catch. So yeah, sorry about that, I just lost my train of thoughts. But for the likes of the Hoenn region, throwing food items is the Pokeblocks. So yeah, hopefully you have something like that. But if you go near a Pokemon, then they're easier to catch, but more likely to run away. I never really went with the go near option, since I didn't see any point in doing that. So yeah, I just do as many Safari Balls as I can and hope for the best. As for the Safari Zone in Johto, well, it's what it was back in Kanto and Hoenn. If you throw bait, then they're less likely to run, but harder to catch. But if you throw mud, then they're easy to catch, but more likely to run away. And I have to say, I really like the Safari Zone in Johto, since you're not limited to 500 steps every time you enter in there, and the only way you can get out of there is if you retire, or if you run out of Safari Balls. It feels good to mope here after a loss, huh? I don't think I would pick a place like this to mope. I mean, depending on what the temperature is, you might give yourself a cold, and yeah, that's not good. Oh yeah, this little area that I'm currently at, Yeah, this kind of reminds me of that little field trip that I talked about back at the beginning of the video. Although I don't think I was near any grass, and I don't think there were any puddles in the area. I think I was in some kind of forest. And I seem to recall getting some things on my pants. I'm not really sure what those things were. I think they came from some sort of plant. Not really sure what it was. But don't worry, it wasn't kind of a dangerous plant or anything. It's just something that was kind of an inconvenient thing to happen. So I managed to get whatever those things were off my pants, and I was okay. Good thing it wasn't poison ivy, otherwise I would be in some serious trouble. So yeah, back to the Safari Zone in Johto. Yeah, I have to say that's my favorite Safari Zone. Were there any more Safari Zones in future Pokemon games? I don't quite recall. Well, actually, there was the Safari Zone in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, but the circumstances are now different thanks to the fact that you could enter in there free, and you can capture whatever Pokemon you want just by throwing whatever balls that you have. And the only thing that you can't throw at Pokemon are balls. Let's see, I'll use Scald on Magmar and Jolpeck on Milotic. So yeah, I don't think there's any more Safari Zones in future Pokemon games. Well, there was supposed to be the Safari Zone in Future City back in the Let's Go games, but that's been replaced with the Go Park, so that way Pokemon Go can be compatible with the Let's Go games. Oh, Sunny Day? Okay, that's going to be a problem since that's going to lower the damage output from Scald. So hopefully Scald could one-shot Magmar. If not, then maybe I could have gone with Earth Power instead. Oh, okay. Magmar went down one hit. Well, in different circumstances, I'm pretty sure Scald would have left Magmar in the reds. Okay, here comes Jinx. What is the person on the left going to send out? Oh, Manectric? Okay, that could be sort of problematic since that thing is liable to have some electric type attacks on it. Well, if it does go for any electric moves, hopefully Honchkrow can survive it. Okay, Jinx is going to go down one hit since that thing has virtually no defense at all. No, physical defense rather. Yeah, I should be more specific. Okay, what is Manectric going to do? Oh, Crunch, huh? No electric type attacks? Okay, that didn't do anything. Well, Manectric is more of a special attacker, I know from experience, since I used it back in Emeralds. One thing I actually was going to do when using Manectric is I was going to catch a Pokemon that knows the move Crunch, and then I could actually breed it with Manectric, so that way I could pass Crunch on to Electrike. I mean, I only want to do that since it gets Bite leveling up, and I think Crunch is a better move than Bite. But that was a huge waste of time, so I ended up not doing that. And besides, I think Manectric can get used to its full potential in Generation 4 and beyond. Okay, good thing Honchkrow went first, otherwise I'm pretty sure Leafeon would have done a serious number on Gastrodon. Good thing Leafeon doesn't have Chlorophyll for an ability, otherwise I would get Gastrodon the hell out of there. Okay, and this Earth Power will finish off that Nidoking. Okay, before I got into this battle, I did see Crash Awake in the area, but I'm not really sure if I'll have enough time to talk to him. Well, we'll see how everything goes. I mean, these two are the last trainers on this area of Route 212, so I'm free to move on. Okay, let's see what these two have to say before I talk to Crash Awake. Okay, looks like maybe I'm not going to get to talk to him in this video since this Weeping Bell is going to interrupt me. Okay, good thing Weeping Bell is not the fastest Pokemon out there, so I'm free to hit it first before it hits me. Although I believe there are some wild Wombres in the area, and I'm not really sure if I can outspeed those things since they could possibly have Swift Swim as an ability. I wish I could live out here, huh? I would want to live in a rainy area because, yeah, I wouldn't want to be wet all the time. Okay, there's Wake, and I believe he's going to drag on the conversation for a whole lot of time, so I'm going to save him for next time. So next time, we're going to go to the Pokemon Mansion, take on that Gauntlet, and hopefully go back to Pastoria City in hopes of taking on the gym. See you all next time.